In Ecuador, 4 individuals shot at the residence of Juan Jimenez, governor of Los Rios province. At least 4 residents of the occupied Donetsk regions were killed in an Ukrainian shelling. And in Pakistan, the death toll following a suicide bombing at the Islamic Party rally rose to 54 people. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. On Monday, Argentine Economic Minister Sergio Massa affirmed his nation will pay the $2.7 billion of its debt with the International Monetary Fund (IMF) using the second tranches of the swap agreement with China and with loan from the Development Bank of America. The IMF agreed with the Argentine government of the 5th and 6th review of the agreement for $44 billion it took in 2018, which will allow the disbursement of $7.5 billion, but only in the second half of August after being submitted for approval by the board of the international body. Massa announced that the payment on Monday will be cancelled with $1,000 million from a bridge loan from the Latin American Development Bank and the rest from the second tranche of the swap in force with China.
With the approval of 20 of the 21 member countries and the unanimous decision of the entire Latin American community to support and strengthen Argentina's reserves, a disbursement of $1 billion was approved. The additional $1.7 billion to complete today's payment of $2.7 billion will be made in yuan directly from Argentina's second tranche swap account with China to the International Monetary Fund.
In Colombia, a judge has declared legal the arrest of Nicolás Petro, deputy of the Colombian Department of Atlántico and son of the president of the country, Gustavo Petro, and his ex-wife, Dia Vázquez. This was confirmed by the Colombia Public Prosecutor's Office in a statement which details that the judge also declared legal the 2 rights that were carried out in connection with the arrest of the accused. In addition, the request by Nicolás Petro's defense on a lack of jurisdiction was considered inadmissible. On Monday, 4 individuals shot at the residence of Juan Jimenez, governor of the Ecuadorian province of Los Rios. The governor's office of Los Rios reported that the attack occurred minutes after the governor arrived at the residence after having participated in a property control operation in the Ventanas canton. The subjects arrived on board 2 motorcycles and fired shots in the direction of the bedroom of the house. According to the official statements, the governor and her family were not injured. On Monday, the Haitian government accepted Kenya's proposal to lead a multinational force and deploy police officers to support Caribbean country security. After the Kenyan government announcements, the Haitian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jean-Victor Guinness, declared that he received with great interest the proposal. The African nation announced on Saturday that it was ready to lead a multinational force in Haiti and deploy 1,000 police to help train and assist the Haitian police to restore the normalcy in the country and to protect strategic installations. The Medical Association of the Dominican Republic has announced a series of protests and stoppages in the services of health risk administration. The measures are planned for the Monday, July the 31st, and are aimed at demanding improvements in the working conditions and pay of health professionals. The debate centers on the ability of the doctors' demands and their possible impact on the country's health system. This forum focuses on the viability of doctors' demands and their possible impact on the country's healthcare system. And in the United States, the Texas government ordered to reinforce the reserve wire fence on the border with Mexico in spite of Washington's order to remove it. In a clear defense audio, U.S. federal government, Texas Governor Greg Abbott ordered this week to reinforcement of the dangerous reservoir barricade just under the Reforma International Bridge. The placements of the barrier of buoys and other infrastructures in the bed of the Rio Bravo by dozens of U.S. National Guard soldiers increased the border fence from 2 to 3 levels, leaving it more than 2 meters high. Let's take a very first break, but remember you can now follow us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. The Donetsk People's Republic's Control and Coordination Center confirmed on Monday it had at least 4 people were killed and 11 wounded in a new Ukrainian military attack on the city centers of Donetsk. The mayor of the city said on his Telegram account that one of the shells hit a passenger bus, which caught fire along with 2 other cars. The local mayor also said that the attack targeted residential neighborhoods, the social center, and a kindergarten in all the same district. According to the Defense Ministry, Sergei Shoigu, Moscow has intensified strikes on Ukrainian military infrastructure in response to attacks on the Russian-controlled territory.
Against the backdrop of the failure of the so-called counteroffensive, Kyiv, with the support of its Western sponsors, has focused on carrying out terrorist attacks on civilian infrastructures in the cities and towns of the Russian Federation. The intensity of our strikes on Ukrainian military facilities, including on those supporting these terrorist attacks, have been considerably increased.
In the Caucasus region on Monday, a convoy of trucks seeking to deliver humanitarian aid to the Nagorno-Karabakh area is repeatedly blocked in the so-called Lashin corridor. 19 trucks sent by the Armenian government are stuck near the Azerbaijani checkpoint on the only road linking Armenian territory with the Nagorno-Karabakh region. Tensions increased at the beginning of the month when Azerbaijani authorities temporarily closed the Lashin corridor, raising concern about a humanitarian crisis in the region, which is experiencing shortages of food, medicine, and energy supplies.
As you can see, there are 19 trucks behind me. They are loaded with humanitarian cargo that the Armenian government has decided to deliver to the population of Nagorno-Karabakh, which is facing a serious humanitarian crisis.
The death toll from a warehouse explosion in Thailand has risen to 12, including 2 minors, while more than 100 people remain hospitalized, many of them in serious conditions. While investigations into the cause of the incident continue, the police and the army is protecting material from 4 houses in the area belonging to the owner of the warehouse where fireworks were illegally stored. The authorities tried this Monday to reset the order and return the electricity supplied in the locality of Muno, where the incident occurred. Among the serious damages caused by the explosion, which destroyed the local market, more than 200 houses were damaged, some of which were burned to the ground, while others lost the roof due to the force of the blast wave.
I remained in a state of shock. My father and my sister were still at home. I couldn't go in to help. There were fires and explosions from all sides. When the fire was extinguished and I went inside and saw my brothers-in-law dead. Their bodies were burning, the bodies of my sister and my father were completely charred. I was shocked.
The President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, began today's official visit to Philippines on Monday, meeting with the country's President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. in Manila. Von der Leyen seeks to revitalize European Union Philippines bilateral relations and address issues such as trade and the green and digital transition and security, according to a statement from the European Union. In addition to her meeting with Marcos, von der Leyen will participate in a meeting with businessmen organized by the European Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines and the Makati Business Club, the financial district of the Philippine capital. Thousands of youth from all over the world began to arrive in Lisbon, the capital of Portugal, to participate in World Youth Day from August 1st to the 6th. Over the course of the week, there will be meetings from prayers, sharings, and lectures in mornings, catechesis in several languages will allow appointments of group formations. And throughout the day, the youth festivals present a series of concerts, musicals, lectures, exhibitions, among others, which makes the World Youth Day, the Lisbon's 2023, a culturally rich event. And let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, there you will be able to watch our interviews, some stories, special broadcasts, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. A financial break, don't go away. Welcome back. According to authorities in Pakistan, 43 people were killed on Sunday in a suicide bombing at an Islamic Party rally. The group has claimed responsibility for the attack, which also left some 200 people injured in Bayur district in the northwestern province in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. A preliminary investigation points to the regional affiliate of the Islamic State. Local media quote eyewitnesses describing scenes of panic after the attack as first responders and ambulances arrived on the scene.
I have a complaint to the state institution. We have not harmed the state. We have never defied state law. We are scarifying our lives, and our scholars and leaders have told us not to pick up guns and stay peaceful. But for how long?
Member countries of the Organizations of Islamic Coordination held a virtual emergency meeting of foreign ministers on Monday to address the desecration of the Holy Book of the Quran, following several burnings of copies in Sweden and Denmark. The Secretary General of the Organizations of the Islamic Cooperation, Hussein Ibrahim Taha, called on Denmark to take the necessary measures to prevent the burning of the copies of the Quran in recent weeks in Copenhagen, ahead of the emergency meeting to be held today between the 57 Muslim countries to agree on a response to these actions, the organization said. On Sunday in Nigeria, a massive demonstration gathered in the front of the French embassy in the capital, Niamey, to support the military junta that exercises power. According to the authorities, demonstrators from different parts of the city gathered in Niamey's Place de la Concentration in front of the National Assembly. The demonstrators expressed their support for the military transition, reject French colonialism, and demanded the immediate departure from the countries of all Western forces. The slogan also rejects the meeting of the economic community of the West African states in Nigeria, arguing that it is contrary to the interests of the people of Nigeria. The military junta at the head of Nigeria's de facto government issued a statement on Monday denouncing that the deposed government's foreign ministry had authorized unarmed intervention by France to free the captive president Mohamed Bazoum.
As part of its investigation into ways and means of intervening militarily in Niger, France, with the complicity of certain Nigerians, held a meeting at the headquarters of the Niger National Guard to obtain the necessary political and military authorizations. Mr. Hassoumi Massaoudou, acting as Prime Minister, signed the document, which a statement says, "As Minister of Foreign Affairs, acting Prime Minister, authorized the French partners to carry out attacks on the presidential palace in order to free the president of Niger, Mohamed Bazoum, who is being held hostage.
In this context, President Mahamadou Idriss Deby of Chad has pledged to facilitate discussions with military leaders. This decision was made during a bilateral meeting and emergency summit of ECOWAS in Abuja, Nigeria. The outcomes of these discussions, particularly in terms of political stability and peace, could significantly impact the West African regions. The effort also highlighted the need of regional cooperation and open dialogue in resolving political disputes and maintaining peace. And Nigeria's Prime Minister said foreign sanctions will be disastrous for the countries after West African nations gave Nigeria's coup leaders 1 week to reinstate the country's democratically elected president.
The sanctions imposed by Western African nations going to be disastrous for the population. It's going to be a catastrophe because Nigeria is a country that relies heavily on its partnership with the international community, with friendly countries, with international institutions that provide much support, especially when it comes to the second semester. We secured a budget for this semester with financial aid from the European Union, the World Bank and the IMF, in particular along with the French Development Agency. Turning one's back on this aid is suicide.
In China, meteorological authorities in Beijing maintain a red storm warning on Monday due to the forecast of torrential rains and warned that small and medium-sized rivers could experience flash floods and landslides. Local authorities confirm in the western suburban district of Mentogu heavy downpours caused to the river to slip and flood roads, killing 2 people and washing away several cars. The Beijing Meteorological Observatory predicted that several districts could experience heavy rains and also points out that Yangding River, which flows through 5 districts in western Peking, is discharging water at a rate of 3,700 cubic meters per second, once in 50 years, flooding the capital. China has seen robust growth in installed capacity of renewable energy in the first half of 2023. Strenuous efforts to push green transitions with its total capacity reaching about 2.7 billion kilowatts, according to the latest report by the National Energy Administration. The country's installed renewable energy capacity reached about 1.3 billion kilowatts in the first half of the year, up 18.2% year-on-year. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also see us on our socials. We're on Facebook and Twitter and on Instagram as well. For TeleSUR English from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.